What's up everyone, it's Jonathan Farber. I was able to achieve financial freedom at 27 years old through passive income of real estate. Welcome back to my channel, or if it's your first time here, appreciate you being here. I post videos every week on the latest strategies and trends in real estate, creating passive income and productivity tips, tricks, and hacks. If you get any value from my videos, or if you're interested in these topics, please consider giving a like and subscribe. It shows me that these videos help and show that they are the topics that people are interested in. I need to shout out one person for this video. I'm gonna start doing weekly shout outs. Marcus Merchant, he's been following this stuff for a long time, since the beginning of the Facebook group and podcast, how it all started. And he's just one of the best people I know, taking crazy action, and now he's doing apartment deals in his first year. If you want to get a shout out in my next video, drop a comment below and subscribe to the channel, or screenshot this video and tag me on your Instagram story. As always, timestamps will be in the comments below, as your time is valuable, so let's get to it. All right, such an important question, how to pick a market for Airbnb or short-term rentals. I'll do another full video on this, analyzing cities for Airbnb. This is a little more specific to vacation rentals, like mountains, beaches, golf courses, national parks, things like that. Why? Because I'm seeing these make the highest returns right now, anywhere in the range of 30 to 40% cash on cash. The type of returns that helped me leave my corporate job that I was sick of last year and do real estate full time. And number two, because they're incredible lifestyle businesses. You can have a vacation home purchased with 10% down that'll pay for itself. Essentially, you can use the property whenever you want, but also be able to make lots of money. All right, so I start with a few basics. 3 things. 1, is this an area I like going to? This is because I don't want to dread going to this place. If I like going there, there's a much better chance I'll be going there more often to check things out and not feel like I have to go there. 2, what are the local restrictions for the area? This may be obvious, but you need to look at the city or county website to see if there are any rentals or legal restrictions against Airbnbs and what type of permits you might need to run the business. Because the last thing you would ever want to happen is to purchase a property and find that nightly rentals are illegal. The third thing I look at, is it in the same time zone? This is just to make life easier, especially if it's virtual. I want to be able to get there quickly if needed, and I'm scheduling vendors all the time. So I want cleaners, handy people, runners to be on the same schedule as me, and it can be annoying managing schedules if they're all over the place. This is a small thing, but I follow it. All right, so if it's a place I like going in the same time zone and it's good on restrictions, then I move to phase 2 of my research. In phase 2, I'm starting to get an idea of what is bringing people to this area. Ideally, I'd like to know what the type of person coming to this area is and how long they typically stay. This will help determine the best type of property and where it should be in that area. That's just about a little Googling, going on travel sites, Facebook, and maybe calling a local realtors. One of my favorite free resources is Google Travel. I use it to book my flights, that's how I found it, but it also has tons of landmarks and reviews about attractions, and it's a good starting point to know where people are going. If a place has a lot of reviews, there's a good chance that that's a place other people want to go and continue to go. It's also really important to know how far the properties you're looking at are from these landmarks and parks, bars, and restaurants. For any property, I'm always looking in Google Maps and Redfin how far the potential property is from that landmark. Realistically, 30 minutes is a good ballpark, but if you can be inside that, it's even better. Next, I'll start playing around with AirDNA and Airbnb side by side. Those are 2 websites I'll keep open on my screen. AirDNA is an awesome tool for analyzing short-term rentals. One new tool I've actually been playing around with also, I can't say a ton about, but it's called Rabu.com. Very similar to AirDNA with analyzing rentals, analyzing neighborhoods, and trying to figure out which area is best for Airbnb. I do believe these 2 sites are extremely accurate because they're pulling information directly from live properties. On these sites, you can look at things like occupancy, pricing, top performing neighborhoods, and even get projected numbers for a specific property, address, and about how that would perform on Airbnb. This is a free version, which is awesome and probably good enough for about 90% of the research, but if you're more serious and ready to buy, then I actually would recommend purchasing one of their monthly plans and using it for as long as you need, and you can just always cancel it or get rid of it when you're not using it. And you can export the data in the month that you're using it and kind of keep that for forever. You can always cancel when you're done and just export the data you need, and then come back to that anytime you need. Just on this, there are some links in the summary of the video I recommend you check out. I am an affiliate for AIRBNB, but I was using it way before that. It's just an awesome tool. So if you use the link in the summary, it helps support this channel. What I'm looking for on AIRBNB is top performing properties. If you run your property well, you should expect to be a top performing property. We're not getting into this business to be at the bottom or even average. We're in this business to make money and run it as professionally as possible. So these numbers are a really nice starting point. When looking at comps on AIRBNB, I'm looking at these things. 1, how booked are their calendars? 2, what are they charging? 3, what features are needed or finishes in the home? And 4, what is not needed in the property? So do they not all have hot tubs? Do they not all have game rooms? Things like that. I recommend starting a spreadsheet to just manage a few top comps and how booked they stay at what price for the next 10, 30, and 60 days out. You can cross-check the pricing they have with what is on AIRBNB if there are any discrepancies. And if you guys want me to run through my spreadsheet of this, just drop a comment below saying analysis video. And if people want that, I'll be sure to make a separate video. All right, phase 3, going to the field. Okay, we have pretty much done all the back-end work needed, and now we're ready to get into territory to speak to more people locally, including a broker or property manager. You may or may not use these people, but regardless, they can give you tons of useful information about potentially investing in that area, especially if you're out of state. You can find pretty much all of your local resources from Facebook groups, Googling, messaging hosts on short-term rental sites, and Zillow. I use templates for each person I reach out to just to save time, but you're basically just gonna be starting a relationship and introducing yourself, letting them know what you're trying to do and who you are. They will also be able to validate your numbers and help you with potential restrictions or regulation that you may not be aware of if you're out of state. And if you are out of state, it's best to schedule a few meetings or showings with these people if they're up for it and have properties available. When you go on the trip, it's also a good idea to stay in a few Airbnbs. This is research, basically. You're trying to figure out what makes them good and what they have in their property that you're trying to replicate potentially in yours. It's also a good way to build relationships with other hosts in an area that could potentially manage or co-host your property. Also, while you're in territory, you want to speak to as many local people as possible. This includes businesses, police, people on the street. This is so you can ask questions and feel out what they're seeing every day. This is ultimately the last step and the most important step, where you take action and start analyzing deals and make offers, where hopefully all the research you've done, people you've spoken to can now pay off, so you can start looking at deals to hopefully buy them and get into the next part of things where you're gonna be actually analyzing them and taking ownership of a property. We're gonna have way more videos on this part of the purchasing and the management of the day-to-day, so stay tuned. But this was a high level of how all these strategies and all these things can come together when you're starting to look at a property. If this was helpful, I'd really appreciate a subscribe. It motivates me to make these videos, especially when I don't want to, especially because TikTok is so much easier, but I love YouTube too. So I appreciate and understand where you guys are coming from. And if there are more topics you'd like to see covered, drop them in the comments. I'll be answering every comment and making videos on topics where people are struggling or have specific questions. Also, make sure to hop into my free private Facebook group where I do weekly webinars and screen shares going much deeper into all these topics. All right, until next time, get after it and good luck.